The Green Lantern's greatest fear is failure. And that one time that he turned into an evil god. But anyway, this is Green Lantern Night Terrors. In the world of DC, an evil villain known as Insomnia has washed the world with a wave of nightmares. Everyone has fallen asleep and been sucked into a nightmare because an artifact that he is looking for is trapped in someone's nightmare. Today we're going to be exploring what Hal Jordan's fear is, and Sinestro's, as Sinestro has a backup. This is Comicstorian. I make audio dramas of comic books so you know what to add to your collection. And today we're covering Night Terrors Green Lantern #1. When the nightmare wave hit the world, some noticed it before they fell victim to its eternal sleep. Hal Jordan felt the effects coming while aboard a flight with Carol. But as he rushed to the cockpit and opened up the door, he found that he wasn't on the plane anymore. He looks around at all of the people in the funeral hall, and he asks, "What's going on?" And that's when he hears his name called. Hal turns and sees his mother. She looks younger and taller? The way she looked when he was just a kid. And that's when it hits him. Hal is at the funeral for his father. The young Hal Jordan walks closer to the coffin, and then he notices something reaching out for him. A grim and twisted version of Hal's father beginning to crawl out, telling Hal to come close so that he can say goodbye to his dear old dad. Hal screams as he starts to run away, and his mother asks where is he going. Doesn't he know that families never leave each other? She, along with everyone else, begins to transform into terrifying creatures, like the one that he saw in the coffin. He then swings open the door, finding himself later in time testing a new flight trainer. One that Carol tells him he should have finished last month. He tells her, "Come on, you know I'm going to get it done. Hell, if I can get it finished by the weekend, then you need to promise me that you're going to spend time with me." She snaps back, asking, "How about you get this done this week and I promise not to fire you from the only place that will ever keep you employed?" Yeah, I'll get to work right away. And then Hal sits in the cockpit, beginning to rev up and take off into the sky. He grabs the throttle, asking, how is it possible? It doesn't even have an engine. The giant metal tube shoots into the sky, then crash lands in the middle of the desert, almost killing Hal Jordan in the process. He takes a couple of deep breaths. I've got to be losing my mind. But then a voice calls out to him. He tells himself that he knows that he's losing his mind when he sees Abin Sur dying from his own crash, saying that he is in need of assistance. In order for him to help, Hal Jordan needs to put on the ring. He needs to find someone that can help him. Hal takes the ring, sliding it on his hand. I'm honored, but I'm no hero. Just as soon as the ring is on, a sharp pain courses through Hal Jordan's body, and Abin Sur tells him, "Of course you're not." Hal struggles with the pain, begging to make it stop, but Abin Sur tells him, "Of course it hurts. It's supposed to." Tendrils then begin to extend from the ring back to Abin Sur. "I just needed someone weak, someone the world would not miss, and it brought me you. While your life force is being drained, take some solace in knowing that your death was for a cause greater than your own." Hal feels his body getting weaker and weaker by the second, but he knows that he must do something if he's going to survive this. He reaches for a piece of glass from the crash, and with one swipe, he cuts off his finger. "What's this? You've still got some fight in you? You really do have a strong will." Hal tries reaching out next door, while Abin Sur creates a giant green sword and swings. Hal tumbles through the door, only to find himself standing before the Guardians. Ganthet tells him that he's been called here for a purpose, that his report on the events that have resulted in his fellow corpsman's death on Kuragar have presented the Guardians with much to think about. Hal says that he wants to take a team back to the planet so they can figure out how this person died. But Ganthet stops him. "Your request is denied." "What do you mean denied? A crime was committed here and it's our job to investigate." "Yes, and you are no longer a part of the Green Lantern Corps. Not after the United Planets took control. You betrayed your oath and your friends. We've heard your concerns and..." But Hal shakes his head. No, this isn't right. This room, me, Kilowog." He turns his ring towards the Guardians, powering himself up. "Who are you?" The Guardians stare for a moment silently and then begin to smile. "Don't you know? Admittedly, you have fared better than the others on your planet. Your reality has been shifted so many times to get the perfect fear." Hal begins to create construct soldiers, telling them to get back. and Insomnia now appears, taking the form of the Guardians. Or what? What are you going to do? Hal charges forward. This! He takes down the nightmare creatures that were once the Guardians, leaving only Insomnia. There's one more fear, one more door for you. Hal turns back to the central battery, sensing something amiss. There's a hunger, there's a wanting, and what it wants is him. He calls out to the thing from the beyond. If you want me, come and get me! I'm right here! The dark voice looks at him. Yes, right where you should be. And Parallax comes through the gateway. Welcome to your greatest nightmare! And Hal Jordan's nightmare will be continued next month in Night Terrors Green Lantern number 2. But as a backup, we also get to see a little bit about Sinestro, the greatest Green Lantern / villain. That's for you to decide. The world was put to sleep. It took out many of the world's greatest heroes, but at the same time, it took out one of the universe's greatest threats. In Coast City, a hooded Sinestro was wandering the streets feeling lost, broken, so far gone that he was completely losing himself. He shuffles along the crowd when he suddenly bumps into someone, and the man tells him to watch where he's going. Sinestro holds out his fist. How dare you? And then he notices his ring is missing. The man asks, what did you say? Sinestro looks at his ringless hand. I have no power, no fear. He tries to tell the man that he didn't say anything, but the larger figure asks, what kind of a freak are you to talk to me like that? And he punches Sinestro. Sinestro thinks to himself that he once ruled planets, star systems, entire races. Quake at the mere sound of his voice. He is the definition of power, of fear. But now he's nothing. Sinestro is afraid. At that moment, the purple light of the nightmare wave washes over and the world changes. Sinestro suddenly feels the weight of shackles around his arms and his legs. His surroundings completely alien, yet oddly familiar, twisted and warped, but somehow rooted in memory. The shame blends with the pain to create a potent, nostalgic cocktail of duties abandoned, friends turns foes. He does not need to know where he is to understand how he got here. He exuded power, killed without hesitation, ruled with impunity, and then it was gone. He was ashamed by how Pariah's dark army manipulated him, used him, improved on him. He became a twisted, better version of himself, and now without his ring, he's not even himself, he's nothing. What kind of a man is Sinestro if he can't be the best version of himself? A hand reaches out to Sinestro, a voice asking if he's all right. Sinestro turns, asking the hooded man, can you not see the madness all around? Surely you jest. The hooded man says that the time for jokes and jests are over, Sinestro. How do you know my name? And Abin Sur pulls down his hood. It can't be. It is I, and I have come at your weakest moment, just as you return home to Korugar. Sinestro looks around at the long line of prisoners that he's with. Korugar? No, that's not possible. Who is responsible for this treachery? Abin Sur looks at him. That is quite the question. One that will be soon answered, though I am shocked to see that you don't recognize yourself. The past version of Sinestro leans in smiling. Ah, my flawed self. A shell of the man I once was. But Sinestro then shouts, no! I will not fall prey to your trickery, not again. The past form asks, trickery? That implies a ruse. When this is just your sad reality, how does it feel to be an abject failure? How often do you replay every moment, every decision, every wonder, and this is where things begin to fall apart? As the past self begins to change into a nightmare creature, Sinestro backs away. Never! But the past version laughs. What a sad end to a miserable lantern! Suddenly the creature is filled with green light and it explodes, and Sinestro looks up at the glowing figure, asking, are you Hal Jordan? The Green Lantern version of himself asks, Jordan? I've never heard of him. And as for you, you've certainly seen better days. And that concludes the Green Lantern Night Terrors issue. Green Lantern's been coming back pretty strong. I'm really digging the new storyline. So it's kind of disappointing that we had to take a break to do the Night Terrors storyline, but I do like the idea that we're going through both Sinestro and Hal Jordan, dealing with the idea that they're just failures in their own right, that they both did everything wrong and this is how we got here. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below, and don't forget to get early access to all of these. Make sure you join us on YouTube memberships or join our Patreon. And on top of that, like and subscribe because Night Terrors are going to be continuing while we also pepper in some Marvel. Thank you guys, and I'll see you next time right here.